Hey, how's it going, eh? Here's 10 things that are American, that are unique to America. I lived here, I've written about this before, but it's important we get this down on video, eh? And I lived here for about 15 years, and I'll tell you what, the longer I live here, the more different I realize Americans are from anybody else, especially Canada. And I had a lot of sort of misnomers, is that the word, about the place. Like I heard it was super racist, especially in the South. And I heard there are a bunch of evangelical nuts and the White House is run by these Christian loonies. They use the word batshit crazy a lot. I fucking hate that word. But then I come down here and I'm like at the 7-Eleven in Charleston and there's some white lady talking to an old black dude about the parking lot and there's some gay guy buying a Slurpee who's like their cousin. And I go, I thought you guys hated each other. And I realized what the media tells us about America isn't even close to true. Everyone seems to be doing all right down here, eh? So here's 10 things that you ought to know about this land, especially if you're from the north. Number one, they don't think soakers are a big deal. They don't even have a word for soaker. Now, where we're from, up in Canada, stepping through an ice puddle and getting that freezing cold water in your boot, it's the worst feeling in the universe. And it's so bad that when you finally get a warm sock on an hour later, oh my God, that feels like heaven.
Well, the first thing you should remember is that the United States of America is a very, very big country. So there's an awful lot of the country that never, ever gets as cold as Canada. So if you're talking to someone from, say, Florida, yeah, they're probably not going to have any idea what you're talking about. I'm from New England. I'm from the Northeast, and it gets very, very cold. In the Northeast, we don't have a word for it, but yeah, we get it. We totally get it.
Number two, eh? They suck at roasting marshmallows.
Yeah, okay. I have no idea what to say to this, but okay. Clearly the Americans Mr. McInnes has known have sucked at roasting marshmallows. I've known some who sucked, I've known some who didn't, but yeah, okay, fine.
And then half the time, right, they'll take off the marshmallow and put it with a chocolate bar and a cracker. They call it a s'more and they'll just have like a marshmallow sandwich. I don't get it, man.
And I don't get s'mores either. I just don't get the point. So, yeah, good one.
Set, and all their portions are insane. That's number three. The portions are nuts. If you're having dinner in America, split it with someone. You'll order nachos, you can't possibly finish them. They're the size of a football, eh? You can just, so you either split it with someone or you just, here, waiter, throw that in the garbage. An entire serving.
I don't know what to say to this. I've never been to a restaurant in the U.S. that serves such huge portions. There clearly are some that do. I guess we just move in different circles, Mr. McInnes and myself.
Number four, I think 2/3 of Americans don't have a passport. They haven't really been anywhere. And that doesn't bother me per se, but it's kind of annoying when they come back from somewhere. They talk about it like you haven't been there.
Yeah, 2/3 of Americans do not have a passport. America, like I said before, is a really, really big country. So if you want to go skiing on some icy mountain slopes, you can do it without leaving the country. If you want to kick back on some tropical beach, you can do it without leaving the country. You can go to the deserts without leaving the country. You can climb alpine mountains without leaving the country. There's just so many things that Americans can do without leaving their country that other people can't. Anyway, so yeah, that's why. That's why so many Americans don't have passports, because as a general rule, we don't need them. We don't need them as much as other people do.
This is number five. They fucking hate French people. Oh my God, eh?
So I watched this part and my immediate thought, literally my immediate thought, no pretense, was, yeah, who doesn't? There's an old saying, no one likes a loser, but it's not really true. No one likes a sore loser, and the French, as a nation, are very sore losers.
The other thing, here's number 6. They think English people, like people from England, are super smart. All of them.
Yeah. Yeah, he says British, but more specifically English. Yeah, that is a stereotype. A fairly common stereotype. Smart people speak with English accents. There's actually a logical reason for it. Going back to early history of the USA, when we were first developing as a nation, and accents on both sides of the pond were just starting to diverge, a New England accent, to a lot of people in the country, sounded exactly like an Old England accent. And New England is where practically all the schools were. Okay? Seriously, all the schools. Right up until the Civil War, right through the height of the abolition debate, rich slave owners from the South were sending their children to black, abolitionist, Republican New England to get their education. So for a very long time, anyone who got any kind of education in the USA learned from someone who spoke with an accent that at least sounded like, to them, an English accent. And even when later other people in other parts of the country were developing their own schools, their own education systems, that for quite a while at least, they almost exclusively hired people who came from New England because that's where all the seminaries were. So it entered into popular culture. People who are smart, people who are specialized in various things like medicine and so forth, speak with this accent. Now, if you look at the early days of movies and television shows, the smart people, the specialists, tend to have a fairly even mix, actually, between people speaking with English accents and people speaking with New England accents. But the New England accent has kind of fallen by the wayside in pop culture, leaving the English accent as supreme in the smart people category. So, yeah, that's true, and that's why.
Number 7, they know every actor's name, every single one. Like you'll be watching National Lampoon's Vacation. Oh, and when you say that, they go, which one of the series? And they have them all memorized. You'll go like, what's that wife's name? And they'll go, oh, that's Beverly D'Angelo. She was a cartoonist with Hanna-Barbera, and then she started singing for Ronnie Hawkins. And you're like, how the fuck do you know that? How did you fill up so much of your brain with IMDb? Who cares who the actors are? They do that when they're done a movie too. They sit for the credits. They're like, the caterer was this guy and this guy did the lighting, and you're sort of sitting there going, can I leave? I don't care. They were just acting. And that brings me to number 8. They love The Godfather, man. They've seen that movie like 80 times. They have all the lines memorized. They know all the cast. They'll just bust into some of the dialogue and you're like, what are you guys, Italians now? What are you talking about? And then they look at you like you're insane, like you're a pussy or something. How come you don't have that movie memorized? They'll watch it like every single Thanksgiving or something, eh?
So, once again, me and Mr. McInnes clearly move in different circles. As far as I am aware, these movie snobs make about 5% of the country, and the rest of us look down on them with a great deal of contempt.
Number 9, this one drives me nuts. They say uh-huh instead of you're welcome. So someone will do you a solid and you go, you know what, I'm going to man up here and thank that dude for helping me out because that's the right thing to do. So you'll go, hey, thanks for setting up that thing. I really appreciate it. And they'll, without even looking at you, they'll go, uh-huh. And you're like, well, wait a minute, maybe I take it back. What the hell's that supposed to mean? Uh-huh. You mean like you knew I was going to say thanks? It's like you're saying, yeah, fucking right, thank me. You better. So it makes you want to take back your apology. Say you're welcome, not uh-huh, damn straight. That's like, hey, thanks very much for helping me out. Yep. Damn straight, thanks. It's infuriating.
Now, the first time I saw this part, I thought up a good explanation for it. I was going to launch into an explanation about saying the uh-huh is not what's the word? It's not to put down the thanks. It's to put down the need for a thanks. It's to say, yeah, no problem, whatever, no worries. Eh? But I watched it again the second time, and the second time I got the craziness. I understood the insanity. I saw it. I saw the insanity right there. Do you see it? You don't see it? Go back and watch it again. Maybe you'll see it. if you're back again or you haven't watched it at all, you're just waiting for me to explain, I'll explain. Um, he says, man up and say thank you. Man up. Because saying thank you is so hard to do. It's such a difficult thing. You need to man up. You need to be a tough person to do that. And, okay, why should anyone be grateful for thanks? Why should anyone make any big deal? Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful that you say thanks to me after I did you a solid good favor. That's insane. That's an insane thing to say. Overall, I really like Mr. McInnes's work. I don't want to speak badly of him, but that is really nuts. Anyway, let's move on.
All right, here's the last one. This is my favorite one about Americans. They're all patriotic. Every single one of them, especially about their hometown, about their home state. You can have a liberal talking about how Christians ruin this country and it's hell, and then you'll go, yeah, it sucks. And they'll go, what? Where are you from? They get all pissy. Same with right-wingers who think that liberals ruin the country and it's going down the drain. You go, yeah, I agree. It stinks. They go, what's your problem? Then they get all mad. Like they will have, like women will have a little gold pendant that's the shape of their state. Wisconsin for life. They'll have a tattoo that says Wisconsin. I like that. I think that's the best thing about them. I hope they never lose that, eh?
Okay. Yeah, Americans are patriotic. I've only ever lived in the USA and Israel, and Israelis are also quite patriotic. I honestly have no idea how we stack up against Canadians. So, I have nothing to say about this. Mr. McInnes has a lot more experience, has this experience. He's lived among Canadians and among Americans. I've only ever lived among Americans, that is, people from the U.S. So, sorry, I can't explain it. But yeah, okay, fair enough. And that's all 10. Thanks for watching. I hope I've offered some insight into these things that Mr. McInnes talks about. And that's all. Have a good night, and God bless.